What's the deal, YouTube? It's Von Boz here at Top Speed. Here with my guy Jake. We about to get some dry needling in. He's a physical therapist and a player development specialist. So come on with me, man. We're gonna get this work in.
I see them scheming. They won't stop me from my vision. Creeping, they creeping. Creeping, they creeping. Creeping, they creeping. They creeping.
It's my guy Jake, about to get some dry needling in.
How's everyone doing? I'm Jake McFarland, a physical therapist at Adapt Physical Therapy and Player Development, and I specialize in sports therapy, and today I will be doing some dry needling.
Let's get to it, man.
So what we have here are the APS dry needles. That's what we use. This is physical therapy dry needles. Very similar to acupuncture needles. We just have different philosophies. So when you look at a dry needle, basically we have different lengths. So if you look here, these are the 25 millimeter by 40 millimeters. These are typically for what I would call like level 1 muscles that are very close to the surface of the bone. Whereas hamstrings, let me grab another set of those. If I have somebody that has a hamstring issue or another deep glute muscle, we have to use a little bit of a taller needle, and you can see kind of the differences in length. These muscles are for other deep muscles, glutes, hamstrings, low back. The depth is what you need to get down to the bone. You have some people's quad muscles that are that long. Now this one's specifically about 60 millimeters, so you can see the difference in depth. And so we use these, especially with muscles. You got to know the anatomy. You have to understand where the muscles originate and insert. You got to make sure you're certified in this. So you have to have your doctorate in physical therapy and then take a course to get certified. But these are the brand that I use, APS. They provide me with all my dry needles. And so this is just a modality that we use. So it's not the end all be all. I just use it to get people out of pain pretty quick, but then the exercises that we give people are what really isolate and finish the job for physical therapy courses and purposes. Cool. We'll do the deltoid first. So we'll be focusing on the anterior deltoid. It's commonly overutilized when you have shoulder weakness, and this is where his pain was coming from. And so when you look at the insertion, you start at the top of the shoulder and it comes down. There's 3 parts of the deltoid: the anterior, and the middle, and the posterior. So we'll find kind of the anterior fibers here, and then just tell me where you have any soreness, anything.
Oh, right there.
Right there. So what we'll do is we'll tap into where that tender spot is, and then what we want to do is just work the tissue. You'll notice that you'll see some spasms that go up the shoulder when we hit the spots that we're kind of working for. So basically what we're doing is just releasing the tissue, and then we want to strengthen the actual muscles that provide internal rotation. The upper trap is another muscle over here that is very commonly overutilized when you have shoulder rotational weakness. It tries to function for the rotator cuff, and so what we want to work to kind of release the anterior deltoid and the upper trap. So you can see how big the muscle is here. We'll find the tender spot. We'll tap in just like that, and then we'll go in until we feel the spasm, which right there we did. Multiple spasms. Good, big spasms.
Mm-hmm.
Good, and you can see how that big upper trap spasms as soon as I hit kind of the spot that we're focusing on. Good. There you go. Spinatus specifically, so you find the inferior angle of the scapula. That's how you know you're on the bone. This muscle is pretty commonly tender on a lot of throwing athletes. And just tell me where you feel any tenderness if you do. Anything in there at all?
Nope.
Maybe we'll try the deltoid. Go ahead and relax this down. Any tenderness up in here at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, more.
Yeah.
More posterior deltoid. So the deltoid and the infraspinatus have similar functions. So we're going to work to release the deltoid a little bit. So we'll find out where that tender spot is. tap in. And then we'll go until we feel a spasm, which he had a really great spasm there. Another really great one. Another good one. And so we want to work to release the deltoid and strengthen the infraspinatus through rotation. Just like that. Good. You want me to show what 2 exercises you need to do?
Oh, yep.
Get rid of that?
Really just gotta thug it out, really. Spasms.
Pretty typically in throwing athletes, you'll see a lot of lack of overhead range of motion. So we hold the ribs down. We don't want to get any extension. The first day we worked together, he was lacking about 20 degrees of overhead range of motion. Now you can see how easily he gets full range. And we also look at external rotation in throwing athletes. We want about 140 to 150. And you can see he gets all the way laid back into 150 degrees of external rotation. When we first came in, he was at about 120, 130, and so it's hard to throw a football when you can't lay the arm back. So what happens is you come around it. Okay. We also look at internal rotation. We hold the joint down. We don't let it roll forward, and we see how far we can go, which that's about 45, 50 degrees. So that's great. If I have somebody that's about 20 or 30 degrees of internal rotation, that's a red flag for me, and we need to give them something to work on. A couple things with the rehab when we're throwing a football, we want to make sure that we keep our shoulders closed at what's called front foot plant. So when you see a lot of good throwers, you have to be closed. You see a lot of guys who get injured with the shoulder. Whenever they go to throw, they open up early, and you lose the ability to create what's called hip-to-shoulder separation, how we create torque to throw the ball further. So specifically for him, when he came in injured, a lot of his throws in rehab, he would miss up because he didn't want to let his arm lay back. They had a lot of loft, and then when he did have to make a lot of high intent throws, he would get a lot of anterior shoulder pain, and so that's pretty common. So now he's doing really a good job of just learning to stay close and keeping his arm inside 90, front shoulder close as he pulls through.
Wraps up my session with my guy Jake, man. I just wanted you all to, give you all an introduction of his world and everything that he does, man. As you all seen, I got some dry needling in. I worked on my hips as well. Went through some exercises for me to work on when I get home. Yeah, man. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, man. I'll see y'all in the next video.